not like this, but like this. The limiting factor here should always be, for your 20 seconds, we want our muscles to already have been heated up, flat on the floor, facing forwards. The other one, and now I can pull down like this, pointing forwards towards the front. Hello friends, welcome to this video. So today I'm gonna be showing you my top 5 simple upper and lower body stretches that you can add after your workout, after your arm day, after your leg day, to help improve your flexibility. You might be wondering, why do I want to be more flexible? Well, it improves your range of motion, it reduces the risk of injury, and whenever I stretch, I feel less stiff. Like, I still feel strong, but I don't feel quite as sore as I would if I don't stretch. So I'm gonna be giving you a beginner and a more advanced progression for each exercise. Let's start with upper body. And I'll be doing another video on mobility pretty soon, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay tuned for that. Upper body stretch number 1, of course we're thinking our tricep stretch. So what we're gonna do, lift one arm straight up into the air with our hand facing behind us, not forward, behind. We're gonna have our tricep focused right now, pointing forwards towards the front. We're just gonna bend our forearm and then press gently back with the hand that isn't being stretched right now. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna isolate our tricep. So for all of those lovely exercises we've been doing through our workouts, our good old dips, our pseudo planche push-ups, the Aussie rows, any of our planks, a little bit of that tuck lever, the pull-ups, you know, like we use the triceps a lot. And here we're giving them a little bit of love by stretching them. Don't forget to do both sides here. And one problem that I see a lot is people's armpits really like open up to the front. We don't want that. We want to close up the armpit a little bit, and then we can focus on the tricep, because if our armpit's open, I'm getting more of a side stretch right here, a lat, which is good, but not the tricep. Now, if you find the hand a little bit too easy and you want a bit more of a challenge, one thing you can do is grab a resistance band, let it fall behind you, and what you're gonna do is grab it as close as possible and then pull down. So I'll show you again. Tricep that's being stretched, hand in the air. Make sure that your palm is facing forwards away from you. Bend so you can isolate your tricep. Then take my other hand, reach around, grab the resistance band, and now I can pull down like this. And that adds a little bit of an extra tricep intensity right there. Next, upper body stretch, nice and easy. Take one arm, so this is the opposite to the chest. We're stretching our tricep and a bit of our shoulder, a bit of our back too. We're gonna cross the chest, so the back of your hand is gonna be facing forward. You're gonna take your other arm to help assist and pull that stretch. And if you can kind of tell, I'm definitely feeling the stretch, not only in my shoulder and in my tricep, but also in a bit of my back. And then uncross, stretch the other side. Yeah, so that's one of my go-tos, super easy. All right, so stretch number 3 is gonna be our pec stretch. So all of them exercises we do on chest day, your chest press, your push-ups, those are really the main ones I do, but there are lots of others. Gotta stretch out the pecs. And also I do these to help prevent dip injury too. What we're gonna do here, go into tabletop position. We take one arm, stretch it out nice and wide, and then fold into that shoulder. Bring your body closer to the floor by bending the other arm. I try and always keep the arm that's stretched out on the floor nice and straight, and all I'm doing is kind of turning into your shoulder, but not too sharply, just a gentle stretch where I can feel my pec nice and good. You can use a wall for this if you prefer to. I'll show you with the other side. So here, this arm on the floor is nice and flat. You can tell that I'm stretching my chest here, and I can totally feel it. Bear in mind that the more weight that you apply to each stretch, the harder it's gonna feel, the more you're gonna stretch. So a regression for this one is just to put a little bit of weight, just a little bit of body weight. And one thing you can do to ensure you only put a little body weight is move your knees a little bit closer, and this puts less of your body weight and force on that shoulder. Now, if I were to move my feet out farther, naturally, it's a lot easier for me to apply more force on that shoulder because I have a bit more push to put into it. That was the most technical term I could think of, really. But let me show you the wall now, friends. So it's gonna be a very similar situation with the wall. One arm flat, chest forward towards the wall, and now, of course, the pecs. This region here is what we want to stretch. So hand flat on the wall, rotate slightly until you feel it in this region. And keep your chest nice and spread as you turn. You can tell I'm just keeping my arm flat on the other arm. And now I'm turning outward. Not like this, like this. but when you're stretching this one, and you'll be able to actually really gauge based on how your muscle feels, how deep and how light you should go when you're stretching. So this next one you're gonna need a box for. And guys, let me tell you, I didn't know this stretch. I was not aware that this stretch existed for so long. And when I found it, your girl was shook because this stretch is going to stretch these muscles right here. So think your shoulder region, think your tricep, basically the muscles that flex your shoulder. Now, when we're doing handstands, for me, these muscles, they are strong as heck. And this ruins my handstand form because the other side of my shoulder, so not like the posterior region, but the anterior region, is not strong enough to overcompensate for these super strong flexion muscles. So one thing I had to learn to do, and also these muscles had poor mobility. So one thing I did is I added in this stretch, and that made them more flexible, which allowed me to get my handstand form much better. So if you train handstands, I would recommend this one. Grab your box of choice. This is a shoulder flexion stretch. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna place our wrists on the box, trying to focus right on this region right here. So start gentle. One thing I also like to do is try and keep my thighs at a 90-degree angle with my torso. The limiting factor here should always be my shoulders. And the whole goal is to get them nice and stretchy. So this is kind of what I'm doing here. I did not start with this much shoulder flexibility. Guys, I wish I had videos of my old shoulders because they are so inflexible. I think I was something like this. And look how far we've come. And it's only been a few months. So I would really recommend adding these in at the end of your workouts. I did 2 rounds of 1 minute of stretching with these, but I would recommend, again, if you're a complete beginner, to start on the lower end. Start with 20, 30 seconds. You could do 4 rounds, that's totally fine. Or if you kind of enjoy that stretch pain like moi, definitely ramp it up. So this was the shoulder flexion stretch. We have one more arm exercise, and this is my absolute favorite, guys. Absolute favorite. If you have one exercise you can add to your stretching and post-workout regime, I would highly recommend this one. This exercise is going to build up your grip strength. It's going to decompress your spine. It's also going to create much more flexibility and mobility in your shoulder regions, which is going to be useful for basically every single calisthenics exercise that you use with your upper body. And this exercise is going to be our dead hang. Now, a few cues you're going to want to think about here. You're going to want to use your grip to hold yourself as you're hanging from the bar. Now, the dead hang can be really amazing for multiple things, like if you're getting your pull-up. But if we're doing our pull-up, this is less of a stretch and more of an active hollow hold dead hang. What we're focusing on right now is not going to be that. It's going to be the relaxed position dead hang, where we're letting our shoulders really just deeply relax as we hang. It's okay to engage your core a little bit, but try to really just be loose and let everything be relaxed except for your grip that you're hanging from. Don't let your head fall backwards or forwards. Try and keep a nice neutral gaze forwards. And this is not going to be easy at first. Grip strength is one of our best indicators of longevity, which is amazing because the longer you can hang from a bar, you know how much longer you're gonna live. At least it's a supportive indicator. And it's not gonna be easy at first to hang from a bar if you're not familiar and comfortable with this normally. So what we have to do is just build up over time. Try your first few weeks to hit 30 seconds just hanging from the bar. Take a 1 minute rest, do it again, and do 3 rounds. After a few weeks, try and really reach for 1 minute. If you're going for 1 minute and you can't hold it for that long, just come down and use a lower bar with your feet on the floor, so only part of your weight is hanging from your hands, because you can use your feet to really assist and push up so there's less strain on your wrists. I like to do dead hangs 3 times or so at the end of my session, and I add them to a lot of my upper body days and some of my full body days. Helps your spine decompress, helps with shoulder mobility and flexibility, and oh my goodness, it is such a good stretch. So you're brand new to stretching and you just finished your leg day workout. What do you do? All right, first thing we're gonna do, feet together, stretch all the way up to the ceiling. The goal here is to try and back bend a little bit. Squeeze all your muscles up before doing a forward fold. So what I wanna do here is keep our legs together, feet touching, and then as you fold down, you're gonna feel this in the backs of your legs and your hamstrings, and also potentially your lower back if you're a bit more tight there. And what you're gonna want to do is try and fold as low as you can with your lower back a little bit arched. Don't curve your back into a posterior pelvic tilt where you're rounded immediately. Try and keep your legs here nice and straight, knees locked, so no bent knees here. If you need a block, that's totally fine. Let me find a block. Where's a block? So if you need a block or something else to assist you, totally fine. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna keep your back in that anterior arched pelvic tilt until you are as far stretched as you can. Breathe in. And as you relax, you're gonna want to fold forward as much as you can. Now here, it's okay if you go slightly out of your anterior pelvic tilt. But if you can really keep it the whole time, that's gonna really focus the stretch on your hamstrings, which is gonna be amazing. So use your supportive block to help your body here, but if you can go all the way to the floor, that's amazing. So using the assist is the first progression. Then we're gonna go down to the floor. If you can wrap your hands around the backs of your calves, that works really well too. I'm gonna show you my current favorite progression. I'm gonna be showing you the Jefferson curl. Only do these if you already have really good flexibility, and if you do start with these, try and start with a lower weight, a weight that isn't the entire bar. So for Jefferson curls, you're gonna stand on the edge of a box, do your normal forward fold, but let the weight fall past your toes here before squeezing your hamstrings to stand up. Now, if you add the hamstrings to stand up, this becomes mobility. If you're just standing here in a very passive, stretchy position, it's just flexibility until you have to get up. Then you have to use your muscles. So since we're focusing on flexibility, only do these if you're pretty advanced already in your stretching journey. And this is exercise number 1. Now, depending on your flexibility goals and how often you already stretch at the beginning of watching this video, what I would recommend is start with 20 seconds of each stretch, do 3 rounds at the end of your workout for every one of these stretches that you enjoy and that you feel tight in particular, or all of them. That's amazing too. It'll take less than 10 minutes and you're gonna improve your flexibility. So last one we did feet together. This one, we're bringing our feet into a wide leg position and we're still bending forward and stretching in that way. So now we're getting a little bit more of that wide leg stretch going on. And we're gonna do the same thing where we focus on keeping our back in that anterior position until we can't anymore. And then we'll round it to fold to the maximum capacity that is within our abilities. Same thing as last time with your feet wide apart, bending forward, we can use our assist. If this is as far as you can go, that your hamstrings allow, that's totally fine. If this is as far as you go, that's amazing. So stretch here for your 20 seconds before coming back up, or go all the way to the floor. If going to the floor is too easy, you can wrap your hands around the backs of your feet. This adds a good stretch, or you can pull yourself through the bottom. These are some stretches I like to do. And all of these can be done in a series, so think forward fold, then bring your legs wide apart. And now my favorite one is gonna be your Cossack stretch. And what you're gonna wanna do in this stretch is you're gonna have one foot facing forward, the other foot pointing to the side. The foot that's facing forward should always be completely planted on the floor. The foot that is facing perpendicular, forming a nice right angle here, we only want the heel of this foot on the floor. And we're gonna be in that wide-legged position. I'm turning this one foot on its heel with the toe pointing upward, and I'm bending this leg, the one that's completely flat on the floor, into a squat position. Now this is called Cossack squat. This is more of a mobility drill. So this is an amazing hip opener. You're gonna feel it on your adductors, which are the muscles inside of your thigh here. You're gonna feel it in your hamstrings. You're gonna feel it in your hip flexors. You're gonna feel it all around in all of those good parts. You can place your hands on the floor for support. And when you switch, if you can not use your hands to switch to the other side, that's amazing. Try and really do that, using a little bit of strength in here. But if you want to walk yourself over with your hands, that's also totally fine. And the goal is always to keep one leg flat on the floor, facing forwards. The other one, toes to the sky, and try and keep your chest up. This is what it looks like from the side angle. And that's the Cossack squat. Now, most leg days include a little bit of the biggest muscle in your body, which is your glutes, the gluteus maximus. So one stretch that I do after every single glute workout, because they're intense, is gonna be your glute stretch. So what you're gonna do, feet at a 90-degree angle on the floor, take one leg, pop it onto your knee here, and now I'm feeling this stretch completely in my gluteus minimus, my gluteus maximus, a little bit of my abductors, which are the muscles on the outside of your thigh. Just feeling a good whole stretch going on. So if you bring your feet farther away from you, this will be an easier stretch. If you bring them closer to you, it's gonna be harder naturally. And if you bring them super close, it's gonna be really hard. Try to remember to keep your knee at a mostly perpendicular angle to your other knees. What I kind of enjoy is rolling side to side too. After the glute workouts, we do a little foam roll while stretching this muscle. Feels really good though. So we've done most of our lower body at this point. We did forward fold, wide-legged fold, Cossack squat, glute stretch. Now we're gonna hit our hip flexors and our quads a little bit right here. Now, to get into this position, you can start just in a kneeling position and then Sink your hips forward if you can. Try not to make your torso at an angle to the ground. Try and keep it nice and upright and tuck your hips under. It's not like this, but like this. And that's what's gonna focus on really hitting your stretch in your hip flexor here, and also your quad, which is always great. If you're feeling a little ambitious, you can flop on back into a little hamstring stretch here, but we're focusing on the quads, okay? We're keeping it simple. Now, if this is challenging, one thing I would recommend, well, first of all, something I would always recommend is if you have sensitive knees, like me and my familia, use a towel beneath the knee that's on the floor. Your girl doesn't have one. Awkward. Because sometimes it can be a little sensitive having your knee on the floor like that. Go as far and as deep as you're comfortable, and maybe that only looks like this for you, and that's okay. Don't forget to switch sides. And those are our lower body stretches. Alrighty then, that is all of the stretches, my friends. Just a few concluding notes. I would really recommend that you do these stretches after you're warm. So these are gonna be stretching your flexibility, which means that we want our muscles to already have been heated up because we're not actively using them. These are more passive and gentle stretches that are designed to allow our muscles to flex deeper, not necessarily be strengthened in that flex position, which is more of a mobility. I'm gonna make a video on mobility, so don't forget to hit subscribe to follow along for that one. But just be mindful of your body, stretch so that it's uncomfortable, but not painful. Painful is different than discomfort, okay? Different type of discomfort stretching is. And hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys very soon in the next one. Bye.